What was that like for you to play a character who she's not like she can't always be in the present moment. You know, she's dating someone, but she sees, oh, they're gonna get into a fight, so she has to cancel a date.
Yeah, no, she's living in the future and the past. She's not where she is, and she's consistently having to learn that lesson over and over again. And I think we all do that in our lives, right? We can be aware of a mistake we've made, but it's really hard to change that pattern of
Yeah.
behavior.
Yeah.
And so she's definitely going through that. She's trying to control the outcome of everything, and she can't.
No, she can't. Did this show teach you to trust your instincts more? If you have a
I
feeling.
honestly, I think it did in a way. It made me aware of the fact that everybody goes through this, where you have these instincts and these intuitions, but you can also push them down and ignore them and push them away. Whether that's out of fear or out of, you know, regretting a past mistake or not wanting to get hurt or whatever it is, it's really easy to do that. And playing her brought that awareness to me for sure in my own life.
I felt like there was a theme in this show that it's about accepting who you are, what makes you
Definitely.
unique. You feel that? Yeah, like with Maggie, it's her vision, and
Yeah.
in the prom episode, she wasn't so popular.
No.
But I think that's good. I think for young people to watch, right? Like you kind of embrace what makes you special. Don't be ashamed.
Well, especially because now, I mean, I'm sure you could say this about any at any point in history, and obviously we have a lot more freedom today than anyone did 100 years ago. But at the same time, it is tempting to want to conform and to fit in with people. And especially listen, it could be anything, the way you dress, like following fashion trends, following makeup trends, making sure that you look a certain way so that people like you or think you're normal or whatever it is. But then a lot of times we can overlook what makes us special or what makes us valuable. And um, leaning into fitting in can take away from that. And I like that this show really encourages you to just be yourself.
Talk about Ben and Maggie because they're so cute together. But we see, Maggie try to help Ben and Jesse get back together. How do you feel about her self-sabotage? Or is it even self-sabotage to you? Because I was like,
No,
she's too
it's
nice.
so much more complicated than that,
I
right? Because
know,
she's
right?
like, oh, like I saw myself with him, but then she's like, but I didn't. So she doesn't know what the right thing to do is. And I think, like it is for a lot of people, it's in a way, it's easier for her to self-sacrifice
Yeah.
um, than to say, no, I believe in this and I want this for myself. I think a lot of women do that, which is, I know I've done that, where I've not necessarily in this specific context, but where I've been like, oh, well, I'll let this boundary go because I know I can handle it and I don't want to hurt this other person, even if it's a boundary that I really need to keep for myself. So I think she just feels like she's trying to do the right thing, even if it's not in service of her. And it's kind of hard to say, what the right thing
I
is
know.
in that situation. It just depends on your perspective.
That's true. That's true. It's a tricky situation. You're right, because they're all friends. Would you want to see the future? Like,
No,
I figured you were going to say
no, 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 absolutely
too
not. I
scary.
think that's just a recipe for disaster and self-fulfilling prophecies and getting in your own way.
But is there, if you could have one vision, like that you could see, would you want to? Like
No,
one thing. You would just want everything to be a surprise.
it's not that I want it to be a surprise. I really just don't want to. Okay, I've learned a lot from Maggie. Okay, she
Okay.
doesn't always see the whole picture. She thinks she sees one thing, but she doesn't necessarily see what happens after that thing, right? So it's like,
Sure.
okay, well, maybe you're like, oh, I want to know who I'm going to marry. So you see that, and then what if you marry that person and then they end up being a horrible person and you get divorced,
Yeah.
and you made that happen because you saw it.
Yeah, that's true. Because you're like, I have to go through with it now because
Yeah, you're like, well, it must be meant to
right.
be. And it's only meant to be because you saw it and you decided it's meant to be, you know?
Yeah, that's true. Hopefully we'll get a season two because there was such a cliffhanger at the end. I mean, I was like, I have to know. I even
I
told
know. We
Angelina, I was
really
like,
pulled the rug out from under you.
really, really? Yeah. So what would you forecast for that? You know,
Yeah.
you could. Like what would you forecast for season two?
Oh my goodness. I think what would be really interesting for a season two would be a really competitive love interest for Ben. I
Ooh,
think that would really I mean, not for him, to take his place. Like, oh, maybe this is really the guy for Maggie, to really confuse us, to really throw a wrench in the Ross and Rachel of it all,
yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah.
I think that would be exciting.
Maggie sees the future, but if you could travel back in time and spend a day in the life of anyone from history, like have their mind, their experiences for a whole day, who would it be and why?
I've never been asked that question before.
I always
And
like to ask it to everyone I interview.
wow, I'm sure that now after we get off this interview, I'm gonna be like, oh no, that was wrong. I should have said this. I should have said this. Um, one day, a specific day.
It doesn't have to be the day, like just have you'd have their specific mind, you'd have their experiences. But yeah, you'd have one day.
I'd love to be Catherine the Great.
Oh, I've heard that before. Yeah, that's a good one.
I mean, she was such a badass. She was
Yeah,
such a badass.
that's
And like talk about being plopped down in totally foreign circumstances and being incredibly smart and, you know, handling her shit. I mean, wow.
is there you've had a variety of characters that you've played, like the Mindy Project is obviously different from Ainsley and from Maggie. Is there a dream character that you would love to like sink your teeth into? Like if I was the head of a studio and I said, Rebecca, who do you want to play? What role? Let's put it out there for the universe.
I actually do have a really, really specific answer. I'm obsessed with period dramas. So there's a few characters that I've always wanted to play. I mean, this has been redone a couple times now, so I feel like this is not on the cards for me, but I would love to play Emma.
Mm-hmm.
And then my other choice would be Lily Bart. Do you know who that is? Lily
No.
Bart. She is from the Edith Wharton novel, House of Mirth.
Okay. Okay.
Would love to play her.
Oh, I have to go read about her now. I'm curious.
Yeah, I would fall over and die if I got to play her, which would be
Oh,
pointless because then I wouldn't get to play her. But
right. I think period pieces are so fun.
oh,
To go back, right? The costume. I mean, I love
don't get.
watching
I'm sure
Bridget
after
Jones.
like 3 months of that, I would be like, I get me out of this corset now.
Yeah, yeah.
But I would absolutely love that.
Well, hopefully you'll get that chance. We got to put it out there, right? Working in this industry, is there a lesson you have learned? Kind of like you see how Maggie learns lessons throughout her from her job. Is there a lesson you've learned that you've learned to keep really close to you, like something valuable, whether it's like an experience or maybe a fellow actor shared with you or your mom, just something that helps guide you in this crazy business that we're all in.
When I was leaving college and I was deciding whether or not I wanted to be an actor, and I was really scared. And I knew I really wanted to do it, but my family's not an industry family. It was not super, my dad wasn't super thrilled about the idea, although now he's my biggest supporter, but he was, also scared. And I remember having lunch with my mom, and I mean, it sticks with me because unfortunately, it makes me emotional. Actually, my mom passed away a few years ago, but I think about her voice all the time. She like put down her fork and she was like, Rebecca, stop being so afraid. What are you afraid of? What are you afraid of? You have nothing to be afraid of. Be brave. Do what you want to do with your life. And it's so straightforward. It's not profound, but she almost got mad at me because she was like, who is this girl? Who is this scared girl? I don't know her. Stop. And she really kind of stopped me in my tracks. And I was like, whoa, she's absolutely right. And so I always think about that now because she really made me stop and think about when I'm making decisions based out of fear. And I think that that really prevents you from living your life.